Once upon a time, the morning sun rose slowly over the green hills, painting the sky with golden light. Birds whistled from tall palm trees, and the village began to wake with the sounds of crowing roosters and the children laughing. In the heart of the village stood a small mud house with a thatched roof. This was the home of Ikenga, the hard-working farmer, and his only daughter, Adaeze. Adeze's life started with both tears and hope, as her mother died the same day she was born. The villager whispered sorrowfully, "Ah, how can a child enter into this world while her mother lives immediately?" But her father refused to let the despair consume him. He held the tiny baby closer, wiped her face, and whispered, "You are my light, Adaeze. I will raise you with my own two hands. You will be strong." From that day on, father and daughter became inseparable. Adaeze grew up in the field. At first, she was too small to hold the hoe, so she followed Ikenga around, carrying little calabash of water. She sang loudly, creating songs to keep his father's heart light. "Father, the yam will grow, the corn will rise, our farm will shine under the sky so wide." Kenga will laugh at her childish song, pet her head, and say, "My daughter, your voice is sweeter than the flute." By the age of 10, Adaeze was walking like a young woman. She weeded, fetched firewood, and cooked, all without complaint. Her beauty began to grow early. Her skin was dark and smooth. Her eyes sparkled like water under the sun, and her smile radiated peace. The village boy noticed her. Some would pass by the farm, pretending to search for goats, just to greet her, while others would stand by the river bank, waiting for the moment she came to fetch water. But Adaeze would only laugh at them and walk away. When Adaeze turned 20, sisters began to line up at Ikenga's house. Some arrived with gifts of palm wine, while others brought bags of yams and kola nuts. The elders in the village would whisper, "Adaeze is truly a treasure. Whoever marries her will be blessed." However, each time a suitor approached, Adaeze would gently shake her head and say, "Father, I'm not ready. My heart does not feel what it should feel." Ikenga, surprised but understanding, never faulted her. He loved his daughter so much for that. Meanwhile, the villagers began to gossip. In the evening, when women gathered by the stream, their voices rolled like drums. Why is Adaeze refusing marriage? Is she waiting for the king? Beauty without a husband is a wasted beauty, they would say. Maybe she has a spiritual husband. They laughed, shaking their heads as they carried the gossip home. Adaeze ignored their chatters. Her heart longed for true love, not just any marriage. One bright market day, destiny brought something unexpected. The village square was filled with noise, traders citing prices, women bargaining, and children chasing after one another. Adaeze was arranging her fresh vegetable on a small wooden table. She wore a simple gown, and her hair was neatly tied back with a scarf. Her face shone naturally even without makeup. That same day, a wealthy man named David arrived in the village. He was a real estate businessman from the city, seeking to buy a land for a project. Tall, confident, and dressed in a neat white shirt, David carried himself with a calm authority. However, when his eye fell upon Adaeze, something inside him stirred. She was unlike the women he had encountered in the city. She was natural, grateful, and full of quiet strength. David watched as Adaeze smiled at the old woman who was too poor to pay for her vegetables. "Take it, Mama," Adaeze said, pressing the food into the woman's heart. Go and cook for your children. David's heart melted at this gesture. He inquired among the villagers, "Who is that woman?" They replied, "That is Ade, the daughter of Ikenga. She's beautiful and hardworking, but she had refused every suitor in the village." David smiled quietly and thought, "Maybe she has been waiting for me." Days passed and David found reasons to visit the farm where Ikenga and Adeze worked. At first, Adeze was shy around him. She had encountered rich men before, and they were often proud and boastful. But David was different. He joined them in the field, unafraid to get his hand dirty. He helped Ikenga carry heavy baskets of cassava, laughed freely, listened carefully, and spoke gently. As a result, Adeze's heart, which had been closed, began to open little by little. One evening, as the sky was painted with shade of orange, David turned to her and said, "Adeze, from the first day I saw you, I knew you were different. Your kindness shone brighter than your beauty. Will you allow me to walk beside you in this life?" Adeze's heart beat fast, and she lowered her eyes, feeling shy. For the first time, she smiled at a suitor. That night, she whispered to her father, "Papa, I think I found the one." The wedding was grand. Drum echoed through the hills. Women danced with rattle on their ankles. Children clapped and sang, and elders raised their hands to bless the union. The entire village celebrated. Adeze, their jewelry, had finally found love. She followed David to the city, her heart full of dreams. The house was big, the cars shined, and the clothes expensive. At first, life seemed like a fairy tale. David adored her, and Adeze believed happiness had finally settled in her home. 3 years passed, and still no cry of a baby was heard. Adeze's smile faded slowly. She and David visited hospitals, prayed in churches, and tried medical treatment they could find. Each time the doctor shook his head, David broke a little more inside. He tried to stay strong, holding her hand and reassuring her, "Don't cry, my love. Children will come. I married you for who you are, not for what you can give." Unfortunately, not everyone shared his perspective. David's family began to turn against Adeze. One afternoon, David's mother shouted, "What kind of woman are you? 3 years and not even one child. Are you here to eat my son's wet? You are a curse." His sister joined in mocking her, calling her barren, useless, and unworthy. Sometimes they push her, tore her clothes, and spread gossip in the neighborhood. At night, Adeze cried, her tears soaking the pillow. She remembered her quiet village and the farm where life felt easier. She wished she could escape back into her father's arms. By the fourth year, her spirit was weak. But then one day, her father sent her a message. "My daughter, come home. The ancestor wants to speak." Adeze packed her bag with trembling hands. Hope and fear battled inside her heart as she prepared to return to the village that has once brought her so much joy. The road back to the village felt long for Adeze. She sat quietly on the bus, staring outside the window as trees and rivers passed by. Her heart was heavy with pain, yet somewhere deep inside, a tiny flame of hope refused to die. Beside her sat Chidinma, a lively 15-year-old girl who was always ready to make jokes, even in serious moments. Chidinma leaned in close and whispered, "Sister Adeze, when you reach the village, you must eat my puff-puff. If you taste it, you forget your troubles." Adeze smiled quietly at Chidinma. "Even if I eat a mountain of puff-puff, will it give me a child?" Chidinma paused and laughed. "You never know. Maybe puff-puff is the answer." You've tried hospitals and doctors, so why not puff puff? For the first time in weeks, Adaeze laughed softly. It was a delicate laugh, but it carried warmth. When they finally reached the village, Ikenga was waiting at the roadside. He bet her tongue greener, and his hairs were rougher from farming, but his eyes still radiated the same love. He embraced his daughter tightly, as though he would never let her go. "My child, do not cry anymore. The ancestor will not let your tears be wasted." That night, the three of them sat outside under the moonlight. The crickets sang, and the fire flame danced around them. Ikenga's face was serious. "Tomorrow," he said, "we'll visit Dibia Ike." He's old, but his spirit's eyes still see far. He will tell us what the doctor cannot. The next morning, the journey to see Asiran was quiet. The shrine stood tall, deep in the forest, surrounded by towering Iroko trees. Cowrie shell hung from the branches, and the faint smell of burning herbs filled the air. Inside, Dibia Ike sat on a mat. His back was bent with age. His eyes cloudy, but his voice was sharp like a blade. He looked at Adaeze and spoke before she could greet him. "You've been weeping. Your womb is tied, not by man or sickness, but by your own hand." Adaeze's heart pounded. "My hand? What have I done?" The old man's voice was steady. "Years ago, when you were young, your anger controlled you. You buried a mother hen and her chicks alive on the farm because they scattered your work. You thought it was nothing, but the spirit of life remember. Bury life in anger, and now life refuses to grow inside you." Adaeze gasped, hands shaking. Memories rushed back. She had been 13, tired of walking in the sun. Then hen and chick scratched at her yam mud. In her frustration, she caught them and buried them in the soil, ignoring their cries. She had laughed, thinking it was a small act. Now, tears streaming down her face. "Oh no, I was a child, I don't know." The seer shook his head. "The earth knows no child. The spirit knows no excuses. What is done, but there is mercy. If you honor what you buried in anger, if you return life with dignity, your womb will be open again." Adaeze fell to her knees. "Please tell me what I must do," she pleaded. Dibia Ike raised his staff and said, "You must return to the same land. You must cook food, dance and sing, and bury a hen and a chick properly, as though you were burying human being. Only then would the curses be broken." The air was heavy with silence until Chidinma, the talkative one, suddenly broke it. "So Sis Adaeze must dine with chicken? I cannot wait to see that." Even Ikenga chuckled softly, though the matter was serious. Adaeze wiped her tears and nodded. "I will do it. I will do whatever it takes." The next day, the whole village gathered. Word had spread like with fire. Adaeze, the farmer's daughter, who became a city wife, was doing a strange burial for a chicken and chicks. People came out of curiosity. Some laughed, while others shook their heads. Old women muttered, "This is how spirits are. What you do in secret will follow you until you make it right," they said. Children danced around, singing mock songs for Adaeze and the chickens. Adaeze wore a white wrapper and beads, her face serious yet calm. A live hen and chick were placed before her, along with bowl of food prepared beside them. Drummers began to beat slowly as she raised her voice and sang, "Forgive me, mother hen. Forgive me, little chicks. I bury you with anger. I return you with peace. Forgive me, forgive me. Let life come back to me. Tears ran down her cheeks as she danced slowly around the hen and chicks. The villagers clapped, with some laughing at the strangeness, while others moved to silence. The ceremony continued as Adaeze dug small grave with her own hands. She gently placed the hen and the chick inside, covering them with soil while singing the last verse of her song. The drum grew louder, the women ululated, and the man nodded approvingly. When it was done, Adaeze felt something leave her, like a heavy stone had rolled away. For the first time in years, she felt free. That night, she slept deeply without dreams of sorrow. Upon returning to the city, she carried peace in her heart. Not even a month passed before she noticed changes in her body. Her strength waved, her appetite grew strange, and her heart carried secrets of joy. The doctor confirmed that she was pregnant. When David heard the news, he fell to his knees and wept with happiness. My love, you have given me the greatest gift. You are my treasure forever. Months later, Adaeze gave birth, not to one child, not two, but two full sets of twins, all strong and healthy. The hospital staff gasped in wonder, calling it a miracle. The same family who had once mocked her rushed to her, begging for forgiveness. Her mother cried, saying, "Forgive me, my daughter. I was blind with wickedness. You are more than a blessing." Adaeze forgave them, her heart too full of joy to carry bitterness. The cry of her baby filled the house, and laughter replaced sorrow. She and David raised their children with love, teaching them peace, patience, kindness, and respect for life. Back in the village, her father Ikenga danced with pride, telling anyone who would listen, "This is my daughter, Adaeze, the one who fought sorrow and won." The villagers who had once gossiped now used her story as a lesson for their children. Never bury life in anger, for anger plays a cause. But humanity and respect can restore what is lost. Adaeze lived a long life full of blessings, and her story remained on the lips of many generations. Thanks for watching.